Hi, good evening. Welcome to this live event. Let's Talk Tech with Egbo Chidera, and I remain your humble host. It's a time of seasoned discussion, a time of seasoned insights into the tech world, where I get to explain to you what you need to know, the do's and don'ts, give you tech updates, tech news, and every tech tip you might need to succeed in the tech space at this time. Okay, so my name remains Egbo Chidera, and this is Let's Talk Tech that happens every Friday here on eCampus TV. So it's a pleasure of mine to be your host, and today we'll be looking at one very important and awesome topic, one topic that is important as at this time when we are entering a period of working in the tech space and working in our convenience or at our convenience. So today we'll be looking at remote working advantages, challenges you might encounter while working remotely as a tech entrant or somebody who is already fully into tech as a whole. What is remote working? Basically, there are a lot of stuff you need to understand when it comes to remote working. Some people say I work from home, and some people say I work remotely. They are similar terminologies, they are similar to each other, but they carry different power. They represent a separate things, but it is about the same ideology. I work from home, I work remotely. So basically, what do they mean and how do they affect your day-to-day activity as a tech entrepreneur, as a tech expert? Now, remote working is the practice of employees doing their job from a location other than a central office operated by the manager. So if you are working from home, you are working from a co-working space, you are working from a church, working from a mosque, working from any location other than from the office, of the company you are working with, then you are working remotely. You are simply working at your convenience, even though you need to be active as at the time when due, but you are able to work at your own pace, at your own preferred location, other than the central office that has been designed by your employer. Working in the tech space is very broad. There are a lot of things you need to understand. There are a lot of things you need to get insight about. So if you work remotely, you are simply working from your preferred location or from a co-working space that is different from the central office that is operated by your employer. So we'll look at advantages of working remotely. Sincerely speaking, there are a lot of advantages when it comes to working remotely. Like I said earlier, working from home does not necessarily mean you are working, remotely, but it's just a form of working remotely because you are working from a preferred location. But after a certain period of time, you have to now resume working at your office, or some companies decide to give their employees a certain duration. Maybe they work 3 days from home, 2 days at the office. So this is a form of remote working, but we cannot say it is totally remote because you still have to appear at the central office of the organization, okay, at a particular scheduled date. So here we are looking at the advantages of remote working. And the first advantage that remote working offers you is decreased or eliminated commutes. Now, when we say commutes, we are talking about movements, transportation, every movement you make during your working period. So you are unable to do constant movement because you work remotely. You work from home at times, you work from a co-working space, so you are able to save transportation from going to, transportation that will be spent when you need to go from your home to that working space. Now, number two, you have enhanced business continuity. Now, this is very advantageous to those that are operating businesses, tech-based businesses to be precise. You are able to operate your business continually without having any obstruction at any point in time. So if you employ remote working for your workers, you have the advantage to continue your business at every given point in time without having any disruption in communication, without having a disruption in the business hours or business time, because your employees can work from home or work from a preferred location with little or no stress at all. Number three, we have reduced need for corporate office space. So you don't need to have a lot of office space. Some people who plan working from home, well, what they just do is have one or two offices that is easy in another, that can be easily located, or their employees can easily have access to when they need to come to the central office. So that that way they are able to save transportation for their employees and at the same time have improved services, because their employees will save the time cost for transportation to that working space, to that their office, that their central office for the organization. That time can be saved and used to work for the company. So thirdly, you have reduced need for corporate office space. And lastly, we have recruiting and hiring advantages. Now, if you operate a full physical working space, you might be limited to having right hands work with you in your company. You might be limited to having the right choices when employing people. So when you work remotely, you can run interviews virtually, run meetings virtually, and run these processes or procedures virtually, where you employ people to join you, and work from their remote locations and still be able to work efficiently. So you have that advantage because you are allowing for remote jobs wherever your employees may exist. Now, there are certain remote working challenges that you might encounter while working remotely. There are a lot of remote working challenges that a lot of companies encounter. And what's my duty here on this live event? Because we are talking tech, and my duty is to explain these remote working challenges that you might encounter while setting up a remote office, while setting up that's your organization. And if you are going for the remote option, technology is a very big space. Technology is a very plays an important role in our life today. So if you are setting up a remote working location, you are trying to employ the use of technology in your firm. So what challenges might you encounter as an employee who is working in a tech space, or as a business owner who is trying to make the remote opportunity available for those working under your tech section? Number one challenge you might encounter is what we call the productivity drains. Now, when you set up your remote working environment for your employees, you might encounter the challenge of productivity drain, because your employees don't have the physical they don't see themselves physically every day, and they are not able to be really productive. They are not able to really flow amongst themselves, so they might have that little productivity drain while working remotely. Secondly, they might have mistrust and micromanagement. Yes, this is one very observed thing when it comes to remote working. you know when you have mistrust, you begin to have mistrust. These your employees, they don't often see themselves. They don't often, if you don't often have meetings with them consistently, so they might not really know each other. They might not have that good communication amongst themselves. So there is bound to be mistrust, and there is bound to be micromanagement, because you might often not have the ability to talk with most of your employees. So this is one very challenge you might encounter while going remote. You might also encounter unreliable technology. A lot of your employees will be making use of technology facilities that might be for personal use, but because they work remotely, they might have that unreliable technology in their within their reach, which might not be really too good for your growth as a company, as an organization. So one thing you should put into look, that should be on the lookout when going remote, is ensuring that your employees have that technological facilities that will enable a free and easy remote working space for them. And lastly, this challenge is very common when it comes to those companies that operate remote working, working space and all that. What challenge is this? The reluctant remote workforce. There are times you have the employees not being able to perform well. Some of them have this ability. They have this limitation of always wanting to work at their own leisure time, which is going to be a very big barrier to your company if you must work efficiently when it comes to the remote working space. So you should look out for this. If you must work if you must not have this challenge, you must begin to set up measures that will enable your working space to be fluent, and you will not have reluctant remote workforce and all that. One thing you should know if you are going remotely is that there are challenges, like I said earlier, but now there are security challenges that might come up while working remotely. So here in this section, I'll be looking and walking you through every of the security challenges you might encounter as a firm, as an individual who is aspiring, or who intends to run his workstation or workspace remotely. Now, you might have the challenge of unsecured Wi-Fi network during your period of working remotely. Now, this is going to be a huge challenge, as it will be easy for hackers to access your company's data, your company's organization through your Wi-Fi network. So, while going remotely, you need to strengthen or work on your Wi-Fi networks. Second security challenge as an organization you might have is what we call the bringing up of your own devices. Now, as an organization, when you don't make provisions for your employees to have technological gadgets, technological devices that will aid their work, they tend to bring in their own devices which might not have security measures put in place to secure your company's data and secure what you have going on as an organization. So you don't want to take this risk. So ensuring that this challenge is taken out of the way while working remotely is something you should consider consistently and constantly. We also have the human factor as a challenge. The human factor of time. A lot of employees have bad characters when it comes to timing, and as tech people, tech service, we always have this issue with time, working time, the time we need to work, the time we need to be resting and all that. So constant training of your employees when it comes to time management, when it comes to how to manage the human factor they possess, is one essential characteristics that will enable you to work remotely and conveniently. The fourth challenge you might encounter is lack of training. You are not going to be able to train your staffs on the job constantly. So this security challenge, when it comes to your company, might arise. Then how you manage it is another thing you need to so long consider. So as a firm, you will security challenges must arise, but lack of training is going to be one vital challenge you need to look for a quick solution to. You need to train your employees on how to manage their security. And as a tech savvy person who might be working for a personal note on a personal note, or for an organization, you need to ensure you train yourself to have security measures put in place. Lastly, you have decreased visibility. Now, this is a security issue because you are working from home and your visibility matters. And when it comes to security of your working remotely, a lot of companies, when they work in a central office, they have a lot of networks that connect all the computers to a central server, which they can monitor the security of each of the computers that are working that they work with at the central office. So decreased visibility is one challenge you might encounter, as your cyber security guy might not be able to monitor all the computers that work on the server because there is no unique connection. Some large companies already have built-in unique connections that they use in monitoring all the computers that work on their server or work with their server, or the employees use in working. So those companies who have this already in place, they might not have or encounter this challenge, but those who do not have this in place will encounter decreased visibility because they will be unable to monitor everybody's security. Now, I will be giving you security tips for working from home, or working from a co-working space, or working from anywhere you are working from, because one thing is working remotely, another thing is being secured while working remotely. Now, for every of your users or employees, don't have one central login details that everybody use in accessing the server, or accessing their portals, or accessing anything they do on your platform. Ensure you give them separate login details so that they can is access, and there will be an assigned role to everybody. Everybody cannot just access the platform and use or have access to everything on the platform. With this assigned role, there will be limits to what security breach you might encounter, and whosoever is hacking your platforms will not be able to access everything, and it will be easy for the admin to quickly remove whosoever they observe security threats might be coming from. Now, you have what we call the secure home network. Ensure you teach your staff, or as a tech person, ensure you have a secure home network that not everybody have access to. For me personally, I program my home network to work in such a way that regardless of whoever you are, if I don't authorize your access, it will be hard for you to operate using my network. So it becomes very important for me to take care of my security, most especially when I work from home. So the security I use, the network I use, the internet router I make use of is a direct access to my computer, and whosoever hacks into that router has hacked into the platforms I might be operating on my computer, or even my computers that are networked at home. If anybody mistakenly have access to one of them I am, my platforms might be going down. So having a secure home network around you, who is connecting to your network, who is connecting to your internet, because your internet are connected to your computer. So who are those people that make use of this network? Ensure you have security on their computers, and ensure you have security for your network. Now, security tip that you should also know is the no blame. One major issue you might encounter working on a team working with a team that operates remotely is blaming. Now, a lot of people might have this issue whereby they get to blame. No, when there is security issues or security threats on the server or the computer, you see them blaming a particular staff and blaming this person. Now, when it comes to tech, security threats are bound to happen regardless of whoever you are. You must always have security threats. But what keeps you different, or what stands you out, is how you are able to manage your security threats. Now, I cite this example. There is this client I've worked for. We finished building a platform, and by the time we had finished the platform, the website, after about 3 months or 4 months, we observed a security threat. In fact, not just a very unique one that you cannot easily detect. So along the line, I observed that these guys were hacking. I could not track their location, but one thing I was able to do was, since I was active at that point, I was able to notice their threats. I was able to notice their security threats, which made me immediately, I began to tackle them while they were hacking. I was securing, I was closing every loophole. It was like a war between both parties. This person was hacking, I was closing the loophole. This person was hacking, I was closing the loophole. As they were hacking, I was closing the loophole, until I had to bring down the sites. Then, once I finished up with the security, I uploaded the site and began to do one or two adjustments. I had closed the loophole and it became hard for everyone. I could have shifted blame. To maybe one of the client's worker, or somebody who is operating the server on their end. I could have said it's from them. Somebody have had access to your server. Somebody has done. But I was able to be calm. Until I shut these guys out completely and secure the server, secure the website. Remember, I said at some point I had to pull down the website so that I can do the necessary security checkups, then re-upload the website. So these are security tips you might want to ensure you have in stock. Don't begin to pass blame. The first thing you should be after when you observe security threats is to begin to look for solution, look for that solution you can give, you can administer immediately. Then you can now move forward to run your security checkups, then can now begin to train your staff for the next security threat that might come up. Remember, I said security threat is bound to happen, but your ability to manage it is what stands you out. Lastly, the last tip I'll be giving you for this night is communication. Now, constant communication amongst your employees will help you eradicate security threats. When I discover a security threat on my platforms, I quickly contact those that I'm working with on the team. What do you observe? We begin to work on the site, run our security threat checks, and we begin to observe while we tighten up the security and all that. Now, constant communication among everyone on the team will enable a security checkup, will enable that security you are hoping for. So I will basically and honestly tell you that communication will foster security amongst your operations on a day-to-day basis. So security communications, among the cybersecurity guy and the team, constant communication, constant training these are tips that will enable the security health of your organization to always remain strong. Your work from home technology essential checklist. I decided to take it like that. Your work from home essential checklist that you must have. What are those technological things you should have if you must successfully work from home? Now, working from home is something more of us. We are becoming familiar with it, and the tech setup you can make will give you a big difference to how connected and productive you are. Now, whatever tech setup you come up with will help foster your productivity as you work remotely, as you work from home. So if you have a computer, you have a phone and an internet connection, is that all to really working from home? So there are a lot of other things you should have, or you should be able to have access to if you must successfully work from home. Now, the basic things you should have, I'll give you a list of them, and give you one or two reasons why you should have them, or one or two use of these technological gadgets that will enable working from home easy for you if you are working personally. Now, if you are working as an organization, if you head the team, you should as much as try and make available these gadgets, this technological equipment, so that your employees can work fluently. For me personally, I ensure that these things are put in place so that working from home can be easy. And when you come to the central office, these are accompanying tools, these are accompanying properties. It's going to be a compulsory thing for your employees to come along with them, so that working at the central office can also be as easy as working from home. So a fast and reliable internet connection is one thing you should provide for your employees, or you should have as somebody who is working on a remote scale. Now, this is usually between 3 to 5 megabits per second, and that's one internet connection that can help you. You can have higher, but anything lesser is not advisable. Now, a printer or scanner is also very important if you must work from home. Now, this enables you to print out files, print out images, print out documents that can, for record purposes. Now, it's good to have the software copies of these documents, of these files, but having an hard copy helps you with keeping record, keeping track, and in terms of human factors, you are able to still have a record of what you've done so far. Now, an hard copy of a particular file enables you to have access to it at any point in time. You might not need to log into your server. You might not need to log into your organization's portal to have access to them. You might not even need to log into your system or even open your system to make use of this hard copy. So getting a printer or a scanner available for your employees or for yourself will enable you work smoothly. Remember, if you still do not have these things available to you, it might not really affect, but some of them are very, very important and crucial. Now, you need a webcam as well. These are for online meeting, and luckily these days a lot of laptops that are being made comes with webcams, and this makes it very easy for you to connect to live or virtual meetings and connect to group calls, team calls, and all of that. So lastly, you'll need a headset or earbuds. Now, what does this enable you to do? You stand out with your audio, you stand out with your reception. Now, there are a lot of things that I've observed while having meetings with some people. Some people make use of their laptop speaker or their laptops, their mobile phone speaker. Now, when you are transmitting these audios, one thing you when you're transmitting this audio, one thing that is bound to happen is that when you are making use of your laptop, your laptop audio, maybe the microphone and the speaker, or you're making use of your phone, the phone speaker and the phone's microphone. Now, two things are bound to happen. Now, whatever they say during the process of the meeting, you hear it on your end, but it will also bounce back into the meeting, into your microphone, and send it back to them. So people will be hearing a repetition of the audio. So having an headset, having a earphone will foster remote working and foster your ability to work efficiently from home. You will not have that audio bounce back, and all of those things can be pretty annoying at times. So working remotely, you need a headset. It's not negotiable. It's something you cannot do without, because you are going to have constant meetings, you are going to have constant group call, team interactions, and having a headset and headphone is one basic technological tool you can't do without. If you operate solo, um, you could start up a network with friends, professional connection, or others in your industry to try some of the above ways to stay social, because the place of social connectivity cannot be overemphasized when it comes to working remotely, working from home, or any type of remote working you are involved in. I must really be sincere with you. Today's section has been one very inspiring section, one very educative section for me, and I know for you, you have something to take out of today's live event. Now, we've looked at a lot of things. We looked at challenges you might encounter when it comes to remote working. We've looked at what remote working is and what is working from home. We have said that they are the same, is that working from home is a form of remote working, but not necessarily fully remote, because when you work from home, it happens for a certain period of time. You must still go back to work. But remote working means you are working totally off work. You are working totally off the location of a central working space which your organization have made provision for. So these are totally different things, but like I said, the working from home is a form of remote working. We've also looked at security tips that can help you work from home conveniently, and I've also given you a basic list of gadgets you will need apart from your phone, your computer, and internet connection. I gave you some other stuffs that you need to get, like your headset, your printer, and an internet connection that is super fast. You can have an internet connection, but you should have one that is super fast. I also talked about a little, being able to connect, being able to communicate with people that you work with, or people that you don't work with. If you are going solo, when I say solo, you work alone, try and network with people, be social, so that you can have people within your profession who have insights, who have understanding of how these things operate on a large scale, and you can get tips from them, just like this one we are doing now. You are trying to enter into the tech space, you are trying to work in the tech space, you want to have an understanding of what it takes to work in the tech space. And here on this program, on this live event, Let's Talk Tech with Egbo Chidera, I am giving you a constant feedback, constant inspiration, information as to working in the tech space. So I hope a lot of questions have been answered today when it comes to what is remote working and what is working from home, security tips to working from home, and security challenges you might encounter, as well as remote working challenges you might encounter. My name is Egbo Chidera, and this is always an opportunity to share with you on my experiences. I've told you about a story of when we had a security threat on the particular platform I work on, and I've shared how I was able to handle that situation without blaming anybody who gave out that loophole. Now, that is what Let's Talk Tech with Egbo Chidera is all about. I explain, from my experience, I teach from my experience, I share a lot of insight from my experience, and I would love to have somebody on the show next week, but we've not concluded. I would have loved to introduce that person to you. But watch out on my social media platform and eCampus TV, who will be coming on board next week, and what it will be all about when it comes to Let's Talk Tech with Egbo Chidera. Now, I want to use the opportunity to say thank you, eCampus TV, for making this a very unique and successful event, because if not eCampus TV, this might not have been possible. Let's Talk Tech with Egbo Chidera is proudly sponsored by eCampus TV. You can follow us on Facebook, on YouTube. On Facebook at eCampus TV, on YouTube at official eCampus TV. My name is Egbo Chidera. You can follow me on Facebook at Chidera Dev, on YouTube at Chidera Dev, on Twitter at Dev Egbo, on TikTok at Dev Egbo. Now, this is an amazing time to speak with you, to connect with you. Please, I love answering your questions. Do well to drop your questions in the comment section. Once I see them, I'll make a quick reply or response to it. And if it's a question that I think everybody should know about and get insight to, I will ensure I make a video to answer that question immediately. It has been a wonderful time to talk with you every Friday, and I would want to use this opportunity to talk about my website, which I launched yesterday with a live broadcast. So my website is basically egbochidera.com.ng. I have a lot of things going on there. I think you might find you might pick up interest in a lot of things there. I have a blog section where I share insight the same way I share insights through videos, content on my social media platform. I also have a course section where you can have access to a variety of all my courses I have published, and also pre-order courses I am yet to publish that I am still working on. I have courses that I'm yet to publish that I partner with great minds in the tech space, and I'm also willing to partner with you. All you just need to do is send me an email to info@egbochidera.com.ng. Immediately I see your email, I am going to foster that communication and start up that communication while we partner to bring out that course and get the word to hear what we have to say. So it's a nice time, speaking with you. It has been a nice time communicating with you. It has been a nice time having this section with you on Let's Talk Tech with Egbo Chidera, which is proudly sponsored by eCampus TV. It happens every Friday, and I would love to see you next week Friday. Please do not come alone for this event. Come along with your friend. How do you come along with your friend? Share this program. Good night. God bless you.